Welcome to Rock Club's record album review of Billy Idol, Rebel Yell. My name is Kevin Z, and I am a lifelong musician and music fan. I'd like to think I've gained some musical wisdom over my 50 years of listening to, performing, and studying music from among my many favorite artists. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe to my Rock Club channel, as I intend to review another monumental album each week. I grew up with classic rock bands like Led Zeppelin, Boston, and Kiss. I watched as new wave bands like Duran Duran hit big on MTV and television shows like Friday Night Videos. I witnessed the evolution of 80s alternative rock and hair metal and the rise of grunge. So I'll give you my perspective on epic rock albums spanning across these years. I hope I can pass some of this knowledge along to my daughters, Sky and Ava, whose playlists include tunes from my album collection and my first generation iPod here. Another inspiration has been folks at work who heard my playlist songs, many of them for the first time, and commented how today's music had changed so much and how Generation Z can benefit from my knowledge of these great artists and bands. I'm reviewing artists' albums in their formatted order as they were originally intended to be listened to. So keep in mind, these are my opinions. Feel free to comment, agree, or disagree. So let's begin. Recently, I made a list of all the live concerts that I have attended, all the shows that I can remember anyway. And over the many concerts I've been to, the Billy Idol and the Cult co-headlining show back on April 28th, 1987 in St. Paul, Minnesota has to be one of my absolute favorites. The Cult performed first that evening, touring behind their newly released album Electric, and they rocked hard, and the crowd was pumped. During the Cult set, my friends and I squeezed our way through the main floor crowd and wound up standing right in front of the main stage. And there was a brief, we were unprepared for the onslaught that was to come following this brief stage setup and changeover. Out prances Steve Stevens, his jet black hair sticking straight out and up. How many cans of Aquanet did he go through, I wonder, back in the day? Dressed in all black leather, he rips into the guitar intro for the song Dancing with Myself. Suddenly, the spotlight ignites, and Billy Idol, who had walked out and was standing right in front of us at the front of the stage, and I'm partially blinded by the spotlight, which is reflecting off of him. He was wearing this huge gold medallion, and the lights just hitting that and flashing right into my eye. I was like, what? It was amazing. I was mesmerized. They were in support of Billy's most recent album at that time, which was Whiplash Smile. The band tore through an incredible set, and that evening included many songs from his most popular and iconic album right here, Rebel Yell. It was released November 10th, 1983. Rebel Yell was the second studio album by British rocker Billy Idol. Billy teamed up for the second time with multi-instrumentalist Steve Stevens, who shares co-writing credits on 8 of the 9 songs on the album. Billy Idol was tailor-made for MTV and music videos. Music videos for 3 of his singles off this album, Rebel Yell. The song Eyes Without a Face, Flesh for Fantasy, and of course Rebel Yell were on constant rotation on MTV, making Billy Idol one of the most famous rockers of the 80s. Rebel Yell, the album opens with this terrific title track, Rebel Yell. It was also the first single released. Here, Billy's lyrics describe a wild night with a lady friend dancer. In the midnight hour, she cried more, 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 with a rebel yell, more, more, more. Billy took the song title from the name of the whiskey he drank while out partying with the Rolling Stones. Steve Stevens is the driving force behind this hard rocking tune, and his guitar solo is blazing and amazing. My old band, the Beer Police, used to cover this song, and it was always a fan favorite. The raw energy from this song is just so infectious. Track 2, side 1, Daytime Drama, is a groovy tune with a very catchy bass line. Here, Steve Stevens adds multiple layers of synthesizer and guitar, and also adds digital delay effects on his guitar synth. The new wave sound was all the rage in the early 80s, and this song fits right in. Billy writes and sings of another of his many love affairs, this time with a writer who makes Billy the protagonist of her story. Track 3, side 1, Eyes Without a Face, is the popular mid-tempo ballad. It was the second single released from the album and a huge hit on both FM radio and music video on MTV. Which currently his video has over 390 million views on YouTube. 390 million, wow. The title was taken from a 60s French horror film known as Eyes Without a Face. Added in is a beautiful background vocal line by Billy Idol's then girlfriend, Perry Lister, singing in French, and I quote, Les yeux sans visage, which translated means eyes without a face. Billy describes life out on the streets of New York, trying to make it through the hustle and bustle of the morally decaying human race as he saw it. There is a cool middle section where Steve Stevens begins this heavier guitar riff and Billy starts to rap. Then the song fades back into the original groove for the third verse, ending with a very cool descending synth riff. Very nice tune. Track 4, side 1, Blue Highway, opens with a sweet guitar whammy bar dive by Steve Stevens. Wow! It's an up-tempo rocker about the sky highs and quaalude near-death lows of a rock superstar. With his album, Billy has now achieved superstardom, and he would later go on to confess his demons, living the cliched life of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Track 1, side 2, Flesh for Fantasy, is another huge hit and the third single released off the album. A slinky bass line starts out this tune. It's a big 80s production complete with a Linn drum machine, heavy synths, and Steve Stevens chorus pedal heavy guitar riffs. It's very catchy chorus. It'll have you singing along, sing it! Flesh for fantasy, you cry, flesh for fantasy. With over 20 million views on YouTube, the video for Flesh for Fantasy pretty much defines MTV in the 80s, with lots of dyed hair, bad dance routines, and the ever-present neon lighting. Track 2, side 2, Catch My Fall, was the fourth single released off the album. From the opening synth part to the intro bass line and then the slinky saxophone part, this is a smooth 80s pop tune. It's a bit kitschy, yes, but it's good music nonetheless, reminiscent of Billy Idol's Hot for the City off of his first album. Track 3, side 2, Crank Call, is Steve Stevens' riff fest if ever there was one. Where would Idol be without Stevens? Where would Plant be without Page? Where would Jagger be without Richards? Where would Asbury be without Duffy? Where would Rose be without Slash? See a pattern here? The moral of the story is it takes two superstars to make a rocking engine run. Track 4, side 2, Do Not Stand in the Shadows. It opens with a beautiful guitar riff by Steve Stevens, followed by a rocking Tommy Price drum beat that really propels the tune. Tommy was brought in to break the monotony of the drum machines on a few tunes off of the album Rebel Yell. He also toured with Billy for years and proved to be a great addition to the core band. The last song off the album is the ballad The Dead Next Door. It is a very atmospheric song that you can lose yourself in while listening to. I love Billy's line in it. Goes don't die, you see. Ghosts don't cry, they see you and me with the dead next door. It's a moody ending to an album full of great tunes. Billy Idol, Rebel Yell, stands the true test of time, selling over 3 million copies worldwide and propelling Billy Idol's live concerts with its many great tunes. To this day, he's still touring. Thanks for tuning in, and look for more Rokk Club record reviews in the near future. Peace.